Data warehouse architectures. Data warehouses and their architectures vary depending upon the specific of an organization's situation. There are three common architectures. The first one is the basic architecture. The second one is an architecture with a staging area. And the third one with a staging area and data mats. Let me start by explaining to you the basic architecture. End users directly access data derived from several source systems through the data warehouse. The metadata and raw data of a traditional online transaction processing system is present, as is an additional type of data, summary data. Okay, so the data in itself comes from different source systems. There's operational systems and flat files, which is loaded to a data warehouse, and then end users use it for analysis, reporting, and data mining purposes. Summaries are very valuable in data warehouses because they pre-compute long operations in advance. For example, a typical data warehouse query is to retrieve something such as August sales. A summary in an Oracle database is called a materialized view. A materialized view amounts to a pre-computed table comprising aggregated or joined data from fact and possibly dimension tables. These are also known as summary or aggregate tables. Now, the second type of architecture is with a staging area. You will notice that we are using the same sources as in the previous example, which was the basic type of architecture. We have these operational systems and flat files, where the data is pulled from these systems and then brought into a staging area. At the staging area, this is where the cleansing of the data happens, deduplication takes place, as well as standardizing the data so that by the time it's loaded to the data warehouse, it's in the same format, it's cleaned, duplicates removed, before the different end users who are using it for analysis, reporting, and mining purposes could access the data. Now, a staging area. This is a place where data is processed before entering the data warehouse. Now, when we talk about process, we are looking at a scenario where data comes from different sources in different formats and staged or held at a neutral point from the source system and the data warehouse. At this point, that all the duplication, the inconsistencies in formats, as well as any undesirable features of the data are removed, and then the data is consistently processed, so that at the time that you load it to the data warehouse, you have data that is representative of all the different source systems, but within the same format and is consistent. Now, somebody may ask you, what is a staging file? A staging file is a file used when data is processed before entering the data warehouse. That means that while the cleansing has taken place in the staging area, the next step is to hold your data into a file which you eventually use into loading your data into the data warehouse. It could be a text file, it could be some other document that your system or your organization has created as a standard file that is used to loading your data into your data warehouse. Now, the third type of architecture of a data warehouse is a data warehouse with a staging area and data mats. Although the architecture is quite common, you may want to customize your warehouse architecture for different groups within your organization. This is where the data mats come into play. You will notice from the diagram shared here that we have a data mat for purchasing, we have a data mat for sales, and we have a data mat for inventory. All these different data mats, which in other words are smaller versions of the same data warehouse, but are concentrated only on reporting specific subject area data. Data mats are systems designed for a particular line of business. The figure shared in this slide illustrates an example where purchasing, sales, and inventory are separated. In this example, a financial analyst might want to analyze historical data for purchases and sales, or mine historical data to make predictions about customer behavior. Easy and fairly straightforward. Bear in mind also going forward that data marts are an important part of many data warehouses. The next chapter will show you the logical design of data warehouses, and thank you for watching.